The front door of the small house swung open, and Brandon Hayes froze on the porch. For 3 full seconds, he did not recognize the woman who stood there. Her hair was a sleek silver bob. Her jacket was charcoal, not the floral cardigan he expected.
"This is not my mother. It can't be."
When she spoke, it was Emma's voice, but the face above the pearls did not match his memory.
"Her voice is Mom's, but her face belongs to someone else."
To understand how a son could fail to know his own mother, you have to go back 4 weeks. 4 weeks earlier, Emma Hayes was living the quiet life of a retired schoolteacher in a small town. She had no idea that a phone call was about to reach her, one that would upend everything. A call from a lawyer about a sister she hadn't spoken to in nearly 40 years. Inside her modest living room, Emma Hayes sat with a worn paperback. The afternoon light warmed through the lace curtains. A sharp ring cut through the quiet. The old rotary phone on the side table demanded attention.
Hello.
The lawyer on the other end introduced himself and delivered the news. Olivia Hayes had died of a stroke.
Olivia? I haven't spoken to her since 1986.
He continued, his voice calm. Emma was the sole heir to her entire estate.
Heir? I haven't seen Olivia in decades. We were strangers.
He mentioned a figure that made Emma grip the phone tighter. Then a penthouse address in Chicago.
I'll come to Chicago. Send me the details.
She hung up and stared at the phone, her quiet life suddenly not her own. But the money was only the beginning. 3 days later, Emma Hayes stepped out of the elevator onto a private foyer high above the city. The living room was a gallery of glass and steel, white sofas, abstract art, a silence that felt expensive.
She had spent 40 years in a house with doilies and papered walls, and now this.
She wandered the penthouse, touching cold surfaces, counting rooms that felt like museum exhibits. In the far bedroom, a king bed sat under a cloud of white linens. On the nightstand, a stack of leather journals. 26 journals, their spines worn from years of handling. Olivia's name pressed into the covers. She lifted the first journal from the stack. The leather was cool and smelled faintly of perfume.
All these years, Olivia was writing. What could she possibly have to say?
She sat on the edge of the bed, the weight of the journal pulling her hunched. The handwriting was elegant and instantly familiar. October 1986. The year everything broke. Emma read through the first entry slowly. Olivia wrote of the day their estrangement began, of a betrayal that had names. But by page 3, the words shifted. Not a justification, a lament. She read until the morning light. The following week, another entry. I wish Emma would call. It's been 40 years.
She wrote that every week for 26 years. 26 years, and I never picked up the phone.
She looked at the framed photograph on the nightstand. 2 girls, identical smiles, faces she had shut out.
You wanted me to call, Livy, and I stayed stubborn for 40 years.
Over 2 weeks, the journals undid her. Each entry was a door she had kept locked, now swinging open.
I can't give Olivia back those years, but maybe I can give myself something she'd be proud of.
That afternoon, she stood before the floor-to-ceiling mirrors of Olivia's walk-in closet and didn't look away.
Time to look like the woman who lived here.
The next morning, Emma sat in a salon chair on Michigan Avenue. The scissors cut away decades of careful gray.
For 40 years, I looked like a widow. Time to look like someone who owns a penthouse.
She walked into a boutique. The sales associates didn't recognize the woman from the floral blouse. She ran her fingers over a charcoal blazer, then lifted the cream silk blouse beside it.
Olivia wore these things. I always thought they were wasteful. Now they feel like armor.
In the dressing room, the new clothes straightened her spine. She pinned the vintage gold brooch at the collar. Back at the penthouse, she faced the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back.
This is Olivia's face, but it's mine too. We were identical, after all.
She stood there, breathing slowly, until the old Emma faded and only this woman remained. She walked through the penthouse, key in hand, a woman no one back home would expect. The rented sedan cut through flat farmland, the city shrinking in the mirror. Emma drove with her new hair pressed against the headrest. 200 miles away, Her son Brandon sat on his frayed sofa, scrolling past unanswered texts.
She said she'd be gone a few days. It's been 2 weeks and every call sounds rehearsed.
He had phoned her twice while she was in Chicago. Both times, she spoke in short, clipped sentences and refused to say where she was staying.
Since Dad died, she's been forgetful. But this is different. She's hiding something.
He replayed the last call in his head, her voice distracted, the background quiet like a large empty room. Not a motel.
Maybe she's not safe. Maybe I need to step in.
He searched his contacts, thumb hesitating over an old number. David Stern, estate attorney.
Mr. Stern, this is Brandon Hayes. I need to talk about my mother. I think she might be unable to manage things.
The attorney listened, then asked pointed questions. By the end, Stern had spoken the word Brandon only feared: conservatorship. The next afternoon, Brandon Hayes walked through the glass door of Stern and Associates. David Stern's office smelled of old paper and coffee. The desk held a brass nameplate and a thick folder already open.
Your mother's behavior, as you've described it, raises serious questions about her capacity to make independent decisions.
She disappeared for weeks. She won't tell me where she is. I think she's in some kind of mental spiral since Dad died.
A conservatorship is not an accusation, Brandon. It's a protection. We can file a petition and have a judge review her circumstances.
Protection. That's all I want. Someone has to make sure she doesn't lose everything.
Stern slid a document across the desk. Petition for conservatorship of Emma Hayes. The paper felt heavy with finality.
A judge will want evidence of erratic behavior. We'll attach your testimony and attempt a wellness check. Once filed, it becomes court record.
Do it. File it today.
He signed the petition, the pen scratching loud in the quiet room. He told himself he was saving her. Emma Hayes pulled into her gravel driveway as the sun dipped low. The woman who stepped out was not the one who had left. Brandon had been checking the house twice a day. He saw the unfamiliar sedan and drove over immediately. He knocked hard. When the door swung inward, his fist remained suspended in the air.
Her hair was sleek silver, her blazer rich charcoal. Nothing remained of the mother he remembered. Mom, is that really you?
Of course, it is. I just made a few changes. Do you like it?
Her voice was Emma's, but the composure belonged to someone else. He stepped inside, his unease thickening.
Where have you been, Mom? You look completely different.
I had some business to settle. An old family matter. It's nothing you need to worry about.
Brandon left 5 minutes later, his hands shaking. In his truck, he pulled out his phone and sent Stern a message. It's worse than I thought. 2 days later, a black sedan pulled up to the house. Harrison Clark stepped out, briefcase in hand, the weight of bad news on his face. Emma welcomed him into her living room, but his grim expression froze the small talk in her throat.
Mrs. Hayes, I received something yesterday I need to show you. It concerns your son.
He slid a document from his folder. The title hit her like a blow. Petition for conservatorship of Emma Hayes.
Brandon filed this. My own son thinks I can't take care of myself.
The inquiry was forwarded to me because of the estate transfer. He claims you are erratic and incapable of managing your affairs.
That's absurd. I've never been more clear-headed in my life.
I can help you fight it, but you need to decide how publicly you want to handle this.
Sunday dinner. Invite him to Sunday dinner. I'll tell him everything then. Bring the papers.
Harrison nodded slowly, making notes. Emma's eyes held a cold fire that had not been there before the transformation. The document lay on the table like an accusation. Emma Hayes read her own name under conservatorship and picked up her phone with steady fingers. 2 miles away, Brandon's phone vibrated in his dark living room. The screen flashed Mom.
Hello.
Brandon, I'd like you to come for Sunday dinner. Just the two of us. There are some things I need to tell you.
Things? She'd been hiding something for weeks, but a dinner invitation was too useful to refuse. He could observe her close up. All right, Mom. What time?
6 o'clock. Don't bring anything. I'll cook.
She hung up before he could form another question. The silence afterward told him nothing and everything.
This dinner could be the proof he needed to show Stern he would go and he would be ready.
Emma stood slowly, smoothing her blazer. When Brandon walked through the door on Sunday, the world he knew would end. On Sunday afternoon, Emma Hayes unfolded the lace tablecloth herself, pressing out every crease. The dining room smelled of lemon polish and old wood. Harrison arrived early. He placed 2 thick folders on the china cabinet, then helped her position the candlesticks.
He has no idea what I'm about to do. The son who filed a petition to control me is walking in here to be served the truth.
She picked up the framed photograph of the Hayes twins, taken in 1960, and set it beside the conservatorship petition.
Mrs. Hayes, are you certain you want to do this in one dinner? It's a lot to absorb.
He gave me no warning when he signed those papers. I owe him the same clarity.
She lifted the leather journal from the small suitcase she had brought from Chicago and laid it open on the table.
Olivia, I hope you can see this. I am giving him what you wanted for 40 years, a conversation at the dinner table.
Harrison straightened his tie, uncomfortable but impressed. The table looked like a museum exhibit of a family reckoning. At 5 minutes to 6, headlights swept across the dining room window. Emma exhaled and adjusted the gold brooch at her collar. Brandon's truck rolled down the quiet lane, the porch light of his mother's house already glowing through the trees. He pulled into the gravel spot and killed the engine. The house looked unchanged, but something about it felt wrong.
She sounded too calm on the phone. Maybe tonight I'll finally see what she's been hiding.
He stepped out, the night air carrying the faint smell of rain. The porch boards creaked under his boots as he climbed.
If she's off in some fantasy, Stern will have his evidence by dessert. I am doing the right thing.
He reached the front door, paused, then knocked 3 times. The sound was sharp and final. Inside, Emma Hayes straightened her spine. She looked at Harrison, who gave a small nod from the dining room.
The next time he looks at me, he won't see his mother. He'll see the sister he never knew existed.
She walked into the hallway, her heels clicking on the hardwood. Her fingers wrapped around the cold brass handle. She turned the handle. The door swung inward. The door opened, and Brandon Hayes forgot to breathe. The woman in the doorway was a stranger.
Number, not a stranger. The voice will be Mom's. But this face, who is this?
3 seconds passed in silence. Then Emma spoke, her tone calm as still water.
Come in, Brandon. Dinner is ready.
He stepped inside, his boots heavy on the floor. Then he saw the man in the gray suit rising from the dining chair.
A suit, briefcase open. This isn't dinner. This is a legal proceeding.
Brandon, this is Harrison Clark, my corporate attorney. He'll be joining us.
Brandon stood frozen, his mind scrambling. Corporate attorney. His mother had never needed one.
Mom, what is going on? You look not like yourself, and now a lawyer.
Sit down, Brandon. I'll explain everything, starting with what you never knew about your aunt.
Emma lifted the framed photograph from the table. 2 young women stared out, identical in every visible feature.
This is Olivia, my identical twin sister. You are seeing her face right now.
Identical? That's impossible. All my life, she never mentioned a twin.
We stopped speaking in 1986. I buried her so deep, I forgot she was real.
You never told me you had a sister. Why would you keep that from me?
Because I couldn't bear to talk about her. She left me everything, including the answer to my new look.
She set the photo before him, her face and the image side by side.
The woman in the photo, she's you. The same chin, the same stare.
For 40 years, I looked like your mother. This week, I chose to look like the sister who missed me.
Brandon dropped the photo. He stared at a mother he had never truly seen. Harrison opened a folder and slid a summary sheet across the table. The numbers were printed in black and white.
Olivia had $40 million in liquid assets. The packaging corporation she built is valued at $90 million. It's all mine now.
The words hung in the air like smoke. Brandon's hands went still on the table.
40 million liquid. 90 million in business. This wasn't confusion. This was a kingdom.
There's also the penthouse on Lake Shore Drive. I've been living there for 2 weeks, reading her journals.
Mrs. Hayes is the sole beneficiary. The estate transfer is already in process.
Brandon looked from the document to his mother's calm face. The woman he had feared was losing her mind now owned an empire.
She never married, never had children. You are her only nephew, but everything comes to me.
And I filed papers to take control of this woman. My God.
The silence after that was absolute. Brandon could hear his own heartbeat. Emma reached into the folder beside her and slid out a single page. She laid it face up on the tablecloth.
I also know about this, Brandon. The conservatorship petition you filed on Tuesday.
Brandon's face drained of color. His fingers clenched the edge of the table, as if the floor had dropped.
Mom, I can explain. You disappeared. You were acting strange. I was just trying to protect you.
You weren't protecting me. You were trying to control assets you didn't know existed.
That's not fair. You were gone for weeks. You looked completely different. Any son would have been worried.
His voice cracked on the last word, the righteous indignation crumbling into something closer to fear.
A worried son picks up the phone. A worried son comes to the house. He doesn't file a secret petition to declare his mother incompetent.
She knew all along. Every lie I told Stern. Every suspicion. She's been sitting on it.
The room was silent again. Harrison Clark did not move. The power at the table had shifted irreversibly.
I am moving to Chicago permanently, Brandon. The penthouse will be my home.
So she leaves. After 40 years in this house, she leaves to live in Olivia's tower.
The estate will pass eventually to your children, in trust. The trust will be administered by an independent trustee. You will not be a trustee. Not now, not ever.
So I get nothing. Not even a role in my own children's future.
You get what you earned. You tried to take control of me. I will not be controlled.
She's cutting me out completely. The conservatorship backfired in a way I never imagined.
You can visit. The grandchildren are welcome, but you will not manage a cent of this estate.
Brandon said nothing. There was nothing left to say. His plan had collapsed under the weight of a mother he didn't recognize. The old order was gone. Emma Hayes was no longer the widow in the kitchen. She was the heir of an empire, and her son had just learned the price of betting against her. Emma rose from the table and went to the kitchen. She returned with a heavy porcelain dish and set it before him.
Put roast. Your father's recipe.
Brandon picked up his fork. The metal trembled against the china. He took a bite and tasted nothing.
She still cooks like Mom. But the woman across the table isn't the one who taught me to set the table.
Harrison Clark ate quietly, his eyes on his plate. He was a wall, not a participant.
Mom,
Just eat. There's nothing left to say tonight.
The fork clicked against the plate. The clock on the mantel ticked. The silence was complete. Brandon had lost. Not a lawsuit, but the right to be treated as a son. At last, Emma set down her fork. Dinner was over. Brandon pushed back his chair, the scrape of wood on floor cutting through the silence.
thank you for dinner, Mom.
He did not look at Harrison. He did not look at the legal papers still spread across the table. Emma nodded once, her expression impossible to read. He walked to the door, jacket in hand, and paused with his fingers on the cold brass knob.
If he turned around, she might call him back. But the silence behind him told him not to.
The door closed with a gentle click. From inside, the porch light flicked off, swallowing the porch in darkness. Emma stood and crossed to the window. Beyond the glass, red taillights shrank into the night. She stayed there until the road was empty, her own reflection a ghost in the pane. Then she let the curtain fall and faced the quiet dining room. Emma began clearing the plates, stacking them with steady hands. The clink of china was the only sound.
Mrs. Hayes, allow me to help.
I've been clearing my own table for 40 years. I'll manage. Thank you for everything.
Harrison nodded, packed his briefcase, and let himself out. The door clicked shut a second time that evening. Alone now, Emma filled the kettle and set it to boil. The kitchen was quiet, the way she had always known it. She carried a cup of chamomile to the dining table and sat down. The chair opposite was empty. Her eyes fell on the framed photograph of the twins. She picked it up, tracing the glass with her thumb.
You'd be proud of me, Livy. I wore the pearls. I kept my spine straight, and I didn't let him win.
She set the photo in the center of the table, then rose and walked to the window. The road was dark now, the last trace of her son gone. Emma slipped her hand into her pocket and felt the cold metal of the penthouse key. A new door was waiting for her. Later, when the house was dark and silent, Emma unlatched the front door and stepped onto the porch. The evening air carried the scent of cut grass and distant rain. She stopped at the wooden railing. In her palm lay 2 keys, the old brass house key and the sleek penthouse key.
One opened every door I've known for 40 years. The other opens a door I never dared imagine.
She separated them slowly, the brass key warm from her pocket. Then she set the old key on the wooden railing, the metal catching the last light.
This house raised my son, but it also held me. It's time to let go.
She looked up at the sky where deep blue bled into pink. A single bird crossed the horizon. She turned and walked inside, the screen door clicking shut behind her. The porch sat still. The key gleamed in the twilight, a silent promise of everything to come. The empty porch held only a brass key and fading light. The woman who had lived there was already gone. One door had closed quietly. Another waited. High above a city she had never expected to call home. High above Lakeshore Drive, the penthouse windows glowed against the night. In the foyer, a key turned in a lock. Emma Hayes did not inherit an empire. She inherited a second chance at her own face. For 40 years, she had hidden from a sister who only wanted to be seen. In the end, Olivia's regret became Emma's courage. The conservatorship was not the first betrayal, but it was the last. It forced her to become the woman who could survive anything. She looked in the mirror and no longer saw the widow in the kitchen. She saw the twin who had never stopped believing in her. The small town slept below the horizon. The city hummed above it. Both were now parts of the same life, and somewhere in the quiet, a key still lay on a porch railing. Proof that leaving is not the same as losing. She had walked through a door no one expected, and on the other side she found her own reflection.